Welcome, my Zentangle friends. My name is Emmy, and I'm so glad that you're here with me today. I don't know what it's like where you are this February day, but it's a little bit dreary. So bringing a little red and a little color into the day and a little bit of time together is exactly what the doctor ordered for me. If I'd have gone, I didn't. So anyway, let's get on. I had to show and tell a little bit with you. You know, I told you I was a retired public teacher. That's where that comes from. We just spent a couple weeks with our grandgirls in Houston and just got back. And Sophie made me this bracelet, which I so love. It's just perfect for me. And Lexi, after her party, gave me this funny little pen. Each one of these is a pen. Now tell me how I could use that to write with. Anyway, I knew you'd appreciate the joy that I found there. I'm using my usual supplies. I will probably alternate, and I may use a thick one today too. I have on hand my chocolate, and I'm going for big chocolate today because I'm worth it, and you are too. Grab whatever snack you might want. There will be places where you and I can just listen to some music while we work. So chocolate will come in handy, an eraser, of course, as always, your Zentangle pencil or whatever soft lead you choose, and a blender stump. Those will be great. And we're going to use either a Zendala, which is a little bigger than a 2-inch size, 5-inch across, or I am actually going to use, oh, here's another choice. If you have a Pringles lid, that would be perfect for a small version of what we're doing today. I'm just getting all my things ready, and then I'll show you what it is and where we're going. I really, on this one, made a mark, used my helix to mark it off, and I lined it right up, and I grabbed my pen, put it in the 2 slot, and spin it around like this. I'm all ready. So I'm excited to show you this, and while you're getting your things ready, if indeed you aren't not ready, which is possible, right? You human you. This is what we did the first week together. These were a blast. We had so much fun, and that was week 1 of February, and many of you were here, and many of you made some of these gorgeous things too. Kind of like a bookmark of love for somebody you care for. And the following week, last week, when I was in Houston, this is what we did. And that was a beautiful card to give to somebody that you cared for. Today, this is where we're going. We're going to make this beautiful, beautiful thing, and I choose to make it on a card today. So this is a couple of different patterns, which I'll demonstrate for you in just a moment as you're doing your setup. And there's one more thing I'd like to show you, which I've talked about but never had a chance to show you before. And that is my turntable. Now let me zoom out. There it is. So this is the turntable that I use when I do a lot of spinning on my work. It's a portable turntable, and you can get it on Amazon or many other places. And I wanted to show you that because people have asked. So there it is. This has a thing that you put in there, and there's 3 different heights, maybe more depending if you get one, and I find that I'm worth it. So I am going to use something like that on my work. Now back to a size that you can see. This is what I did when I colorized, and after I'm done with the black and white, then I'm going to get my color out and just lay some basic colors. This is the pinks and the blues. And some of them will turn into purples. Here's just a pink wash. Isn't that sweet? And then I was in the mood for this one, which is again a little different, and that's the greens. And this one, I don't know if I quite like or not. I guess I do, because I feel like I can show you. At first I thought, I don't like this at all. But then I managed to get some of the yellows in this flower here. And it really does have that illusion of going in a little more now. So I like that more than I did before. So now that you've got your things all set up, let's talk about the patterns we're going to do today and where we're going. So the patterns we're going to use are Crescent Moon, Fescue, which are also Zentangle patterns. We're going to use Kelli Blouin's Soul, I told you that I taught her originally, right? And this is the pattern that she designed last fall for Inktober. Luv-A is by Sharon Caforio. Wrapped Rose, we used that in week 1, and we'll use it again today. And the paper I'm using is 11.5 centimeters or 5-inch round, but any size will do. Please don't let that stop you. To begin with, I need to use my pencil. I don't have to use it much, but I do need to use it just a little bit. So I'm going to start, excuse me a second here. I'm going to start because I'm going to do my wrapped rose in the middle. And in case you're not sure how to do that and you didn't have a chance to download the wrapped rose, it goes like this. I'll use a pen for that so you can see it easier. So I start with a dot, and then I make what's known as a prawn top in Zentangle world. The next thing I'm going to do is make a bump off of it. And from this side, I kind of mentally divide them in quarters. And from this quarter, I come around like this. Do it again. Now, just like nature, it isn't going to matter if it's off just a tiny bit. Or if it isn't, it won't matter. All you do is go round and round and round until you're ready to stop. Sweetest pattern ever. It's called Wrapped Rose. It's by Helen Williams. Okay, so starting back with our project, I'm going to go below that dot that I made with my pencil, and I'm going to come around here and make an arc and stop it right about there. Now, I know that's a little hard to see, but it's pencil and I don't want to go too light, and it just gives me a guideline. I don't want to get too close to the edge. I want to come in about 1 inch here, but as you can see by this, it's going to spread out naturally if I have that center line to work with. So I'm going to start with my wrapped rose and put some ribbons down here, which you and I will do together, and then bring it around and put Kelli's fun things in the middle here. So let's just get started together. Okay, so like I said, here's the middle, but I want to do my wrapped rose off the middle a little bit. So starting with that substantial dot, and then come around and around and around, as many or as a few times as you want. Tie it off. Now is when we start the bumps. I'm going to make a bump off, starting at about 1/3 of the way. So here's half and a quarter of the way, excuse me. Now, just like nature, it doesn't have to be perfect. Be kind to yourself. Just know that you're having fun with this. And go around one more time. You're going to have to do what we do in Zentangle a lot and stop and admire your work to see how centered it is. And if I hold this up to myself to see, you won't be able to. So I won't do that, okay? Now this is what I'm going to do. I want my little ribbons to come off the side here a little bit. So I'm going to take care not to fill this in perfectly. But it won't matter if you do. I just want my ribbons to come along here. The first ribbon, I'm going to trail along from here. I'm going to make them all go to the left on my project. So I'm bringing this down like a giant lazy S, and I'm going to stop just a little short of the end. The ribbon, of course, has 2 sides, but I'm going to have it tight at the top and then looser at the bottom. And again, it'll tie off just like a ribbon would. Maybe a little more square edge. That's fine too. I do want to have the illusion of having these go under each other. So the next one is going to come along here like this and have the illusion of going underneath. And then, because I think this is kind of wide, And I'm going to go narrow to wide. I'm going underneath there. I hope you noticed that. There's a lot of hollowbaugh in this pattern, which is that going underneath. Let's do another one or two out either side. Tight. This one's coming underneath again. It won't show up much in my work because I have made it so tight, but I still need to have a second one going behind. Oh, isn't that sweet? Okay, I can have another one kind of swing out a little bit here and go underneath, tight and wide, swing off a little bit. That's sweet. Now if I feel like I need, like these are not yet quite centered when I look at them, it's very easy at this point to add one or two little petals where it goes behind like that. Maybe even another one here, whatever you care for. Okay, now before I start adding my Luv-A here, that pattern, I'm going to add some of Kelli's Soul pattern, which are orbs of a largish size. Now it's up to you how large you want these. And I'm going to do them in clusters of 3. Just because 3 appeals to me. If you want clusters of 2 or you want clusters of 4, this is your project. It's how you see it, not how I see it, because you're looking at it in front of you. I'm going to lay at least 3, and I don't want to trail my hand through the pencil. So I'm going to turn my work, which is why I have that turntable. I'll be turning my work a lot on this very sweet, simple tile. Excuse me, I picked up a little bit of an allergy when I was gone. I should be getting over that soon. Okay, now I'm going to start adding the pattern Luv-A. And what I'd like to do with that is have a whole bunch of hearts. And I can, right at this point, I can add that little fold mark. Going to be a lot of go behind on this. Maybe I'll have one come down here and it'll, again, go behind. This is very much going to be individualized. And you might say to me, well, I've already run into a problem because I have a hole. Well, there's a couple different ways you can handle a hole. See, I just created one and I just put a little orb in there. Isn't that cute? So as you saw, you can go quite close to the edge here because our treatment for the edge is just this sweet little heart Luv-A that goes all the way around the outside edge. So you can go quite close to the edge without interfering. That one's totally underneath. A little bit of darkening here. Little one there. And a big orb that I'm going to stick in here, and I'm going to darken the outside edges to make that pop. This one too small for me to have an orb in. Beauty of a pattern like this is you can go to the right or you can go to the left. Your choice. I mean, with your hearts. And you see I'm turning and turning and turning, and that's really how you'll have to do this to have it come out fun. But wherever you have a gap, just go ahead and add those little bitty orbs. In Zentangle, we often call them perfs. Another room for a little perf in there. If you switch off, as you notice I'm doing, you'll kind of get a different angle, which can be quite fun to let yourself make the heart go to the right or make it go to the left. You'll get quite a different look that way. I hope you're enjoying this as much as I did making it for you. Years ago, I saw someone had done a pattern similar to this, and I liked it so much that I made one for myself. Little one in there. Let's turn your work all the time. So if the one you're making is kind of smaller, you might not have room for all these hearts that I do. So, you know, it will work out the way it does. And it'll be gorgeous. I have faith in you. Interesting shapes is what life is made of. And I know I've told you before, but Mary Poppins is not living here right now. Now, if you're having a problem like I am, and just make sure to loosen your shoulders. Take a deep breath. This one's going to have a lot of go behind in the flower when I come in, bump into Kelli's pattern. A lot of go behind. And the more I turn my pattern, the more I will feel like I'll be able to have interesting shapes and more. Yeah, why don't I do more? Look at that. Darkening. Ooh, is that cute? Now, I really like the idea of having Luv-A in this shape at the end. If you do, go ahead and do that. If you do not, this one just trails them off like that. And the next thing we're doing is this fescue. So in order to get that illusion of that 4-leaf clover or 4-leaf one, I'm going to start going back toward the kind of a garland that I've made here. You and I have been making hearts since we were probably in 1st grade. I got a feeling that you got this. Now this heart is going to have 5 just by the way of how it looks. And I think it's quite pretty the way it looks. And now I have to come and get my fun little folds. Sorry about that. It is not always the easiest to talk and work. Sometimes I say some very odd things. Okay, hopefully, whoop, there's a couple missed ones. Oh, I expect you have that too. There will be here and there. Let's finish Kelli's fun little pattern here. Usually the way Kelli does this, it's very easy pattern to follow. It's just an orb with a dot in the middle, substantial as you can see, and another dot on the outside. And then sometimes if there's room, she'll put scallops around. Now, if you want to, I did some different versions of this. Like one, I just made a printemps like this all the way around and filled it that way. Another one, I did an orb in the middle, very small, almost a perf, and then I did a series of eyelashes. All correct, all variations of her tangle. Another one, solid again. And then I did scallops to the middle. Again, you can't get this wrong. Not only is Kelli very flexible, but she likes it when people do different things. This one, I'm inclined to put a heart in here. There. I only have a part of one here, very small. Maybe I'll replicate something I already did. And then I have 3 more here. Round and round. Scallops. A bullseye. And maybe another bullseye. Darken around the edge of that one. I don't know, your choice. Really, truly, this is just a fun thing. And if you get a chance on any of these patterns, of course, just look them up. I think that that is a little skimpy here. I need to add another heart going in a different direction. And maybe that looks a little like it could use another one too. See how it looks now. A little more filled out. Now's when I want to start getting some of that fescue. Fescue's like this. It's a stick with a ball at the end, and usually you darken that ball. So I'm going to put some on both sides like I did here. You see where I've got the little ones coming around, and then I'm going to fill in with a whole bunch of those orbs. So the stick comes out from wherever, kind of like if you were a florist, and maybe you are, I don't know, but we all like to pretend we are. Just make a few wherever you like. They can cross each other or alternate. Hard to get this one wrong. Maybe you'll just have one stuck in there. Maybe you'll have several. So if you don't touch that outside edge, I think you'll find it easier, but on the other hand, if you do, you're just going to lift your pen when we put our border on here in a minute. I'm doing what my pen wants to on this, and I hope you are too. I don't know why I thought this was so perfect for today, but I just couldn't help but share with you. They crack me up. They're so doggone cute. Now, let's get some orbs on here. Some are substantial, and some are quite small. The substantial ones, I'm going to try to put a little tiny bit of shading in, but I really do want to have a mix of large and small ones filling all over the paper around this sweet bouquet I've kind of made. Maybe even coming right down there to the bottom. So before we get any further, let's put our border on here. Luv-A, as you've seen, is just this pattern. Now let me put it on a curve. So what I'm going to do is use the curve to help me create the pattern. Use the curve to create the pattern. So, and of course you could go the other direction too. You could just come off of here and create it that way. And put your fold lines in as you go. I think that's easier, but it's your call. Now, it's in your best interest, I think, not to work too small on this. It just takes a long time. But take as long as you want. Grab your beverage. I will put some music on while we get this going. There we are, and we meet up at the end. And this is the cutest thing you ever saw. It is so sweet. So let's get some shading on the paper. I've got my pencil and I want to keep it sharp. I will like my work much, much better if I can get in the corners. So I use any sharpener I want, any handy. And I'm going to do this part first, my hearts. Got a little nubbin on there. Go around your hearts. You know what? I'm going to change my tune here. I started around the hearts, but I would rather start in here because I will rub my hand through this, and I don't want to do that. So let's start here. Oh, yeah, I have a little more thing I wanted to show you here. So where you have these, I like to close off some of these corners like that. Look where the corner is. I like to close it off. Not on all of them, just on some of them. That's kind of just an embellishment. I almost forgot to show you. Like I said, I don't use it on all of them, but it is the sweetest little treatment if you like it. There. That's about it. Alrighty. Maybe my pen is capped. So working back in here, I want this to have some depth with my shading. I grabbed my pencil and I'm going to go tight around this center prawn top. Now you might say, and a common question is, do I shade if I'm going to do color? Yes. That's the short answer. I do just as much shading when I'm adding color because you do want a dark shade to have shade on your color as well. I am not going around every petal. I'm going around a lot of them, but not every single one. I'm trying again to get this to lift up. To get this to lift up, I have to go around, like I said, not every single petal, but many of them. I'm not expecting much out of this, but I am going to darken one side of this ribbon where it went right over the other ribbons. I'm probably going to only darken one other ribbon, but you can darken as many as you want. You can darken all of them, and that's quite pretty too. So I'll show you more about that in a minute. I really want to take a minute and darken the center of these hearts, this Luv-A pattern. And this one of the Soul pattern, I'm going to go round so that it will pop off the page. Not going to worry about the other two that are kind of behind. I just want that one to pop. If it bothers you, the pencil mark that you made at the beginning, grab your eraser and just erase that. If that troubles you, if you feel like you can see it. But I'm here to tell you it's very likely going to blend in and you won't even notice it. I'm going to go around this big one here. Not sure it needs it. Going around, again, the sides of that Luv-A. Now, I am going to go around the outside of these hearts, just with a quick bit of soft pencil lead. My pencil is very much on the side to do this properly. And to have these, have the illusion of lifting up again. A lot of turning going on here. I hope it doesn't bother you. But that's why, for my neck's sake, and everything else's sake, why I have that turntable, and I thought maybe it's time to show you. Not that you'll want one, but at least you'll know how it is that I manage, right? How does she do this, huh? Well, the turntable is my friend. I've recommended it along the way to many people. There's inexpensive ones and there's expensive ones. And at first I used to use it for wood burning, because that is a sister hobby. So it was fun to use it as a wood burning tool, and then I just adjusted it to my Zentangle. Now I do a lot more Zentangle than wood burning, haha. A lot less supplies to get out when you're tangling. Now, there's a purpose for both. I think I would love this piece if it was wood burned. Just laying a light layer of graphite behind these hearts. It goes pretty quickly. There we go. Now, I've got my work in front of me, and I want to find those orbs, and I want to put just a smile on one side of the orbs, the large ones, not the small ones. Just like this. Don't bother with the small ones. You might find at this stage of your work that you have quite enough graphite on your blender stump too. Now remember, if you don't have a blender stump, it's no biggie. Just grab, oh yeah, I almost forgot. I got to go around the outside border. Geez, I'm a forgetful lady today. Well, we just flew back from the Grand Girls yesterday, so that's why. Laying a little of the lightest shading on around the edges. I do want to go on the inside, so I'll be making this turn twice. Well, the beauty of Zentangle is even though we all receive the same instruction, our work turns out differently because we bring different things to the table, different experiences, different drawing, different materials. So the beauty and the love of it is that we all are quite different and we hear things different, and this is good. Be our unique selves. I believe that I'm going to have enough graphite to finish the interior of these. Okay, my last little bit is to get the smudging going on because I want these things to pop off. So I kind of spread out my graphite with a smudge. If I don't have a tortillon, and you can get them at hobby stores really inexpensive, or 6 for $1, or not $1. 6 for about $3 at the hobby stores or at Amazon if you choose. Very inexpensive. Actually, overall, I think this entire hobby is inexpensive. And I usually get the very short blender stumps because I want to do the same thing that I did with my pencil. I want to keep this in my palm so that I have the access to get into all these little spots pretty easily. Let's go on the outside edge now. Smudge, smudge, push it out. I'm truly not trying to diffuse it all the way into the paper though, because I do want 3 colors here. I want the gray, I want the white, and I want the black. If I diffuse it, it's going to have a whole different look. So I'm kind of keeping tight with my shading on this project. Again, that's your choice. They both look great. And there's so much shading going on when you're doing a project like this. Let's blend these a little bit here in the middle. You might find you have quite a lot of graphite on this blender stump now, and that's good. If you find you have too much at any time, grab your scrap paper, turn it over or whatever, and just brush some off like that. If your tip goes wonky, cut it off. That's the simplest thing I know to tell you. Just cut it off. because they're made of paper, they don't last very long. But luckily that means that they're, you know, it's not a problem if you have to replace them. I usually, like I said, buy them by the 6s so that I can replace them. And if you do the color with me on the next video, you're definitely going to want to dedicate a couple of your blender stumps to the color, because otherwise you'll get the color all wonky on from one to the next. So where I have these little orbs, do you see what I'm doing? I'm just thickening on one side and I'm leaving a little bit of white in the middle. Is that cute or what? So kind of just follow that circle around, but leave that little bit of white in the middle. I hope you like that part. Okay, so I remember I put a little shading on here and a little bit on here. So I want that to kind of have a little bit of a pop off the page too. So shading, as we've talked, is in the eye of the beholder. Shading also changes depending on the kind of paper you're using. I'm using a mixed media paper today, which is about a 90 weight. Oftentimes I use cardstock of the heaviest weight that I can, because Zentangle paper is 140 pound weight, cold rolled. Actually, maybe it's not. It's smooth. Hot press is smooth, and that is what you get. If you go to buy your own and cut your own paper, which is a very good idea if you start doing a lot of tangling, which I hope you do, of course. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Isn't that sweet? Gee, I hope you like this project. And be sure to put your initials on somewhere on here. And I try to put it in a little bit of a hidey spot. If you decide you want to play with me next time, we will be adding color. So, and I'm not sure which color. So grab whatever palette you're interested in and a white pen as well if you have one. Thank you again. This has been a wonderful journey. I appreciate you being here. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Hoping you'll share this with a friend. I'll see you soon. Bye.